Hello everyone, this is Albert, and yes, it is a far less shaggy version of Albert than you've been used to, but it is me here. I'm going to, in this video, speak on a serious matter, at least to me, which is the future of Anglicanism. As many of you know, I am in fact an Anglican. I go to the Parish Church of the Good Shepherd in Rosemont, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Philadelphia. I mentioned that in a previous video on my parish. And I just want to discuss what I think is the future for Anglicanism. Now, there's been a lot of debate in the last few years, mainly centering around the issue of B.G. Robinson, who was an openly gay man who was ordained Bishop of New Hampshire. And of course, this has caused a lot of controversy. A lot of people left the Episcopal Church over this. In fact, parishes are trying to leave. Entire dioceses are trying to leave. And certainly I don't blame them for this. Problem, I think, is that what happened with Bishop Robinson is a symptom of a far deeper problem, that what you're seeing is merely an outgrowth, that none of this would have happened if there were not these festering issues that had caused the problems in the Anglican Communion and the Episcopal Church, especially in the churches in the West, like the Episcopal Church in the United States and the Church of England, and they have been dealt with squarely. That ordination of Bishop Robinson simply never would have happened. So I think what we have to do is just face the facts squarely. I mean, just be honest. The Episcopal Church, if you want to call it that, is in fact an unchurch. Actually, I would go even further. The TEC, as it now likes to call itself in true soulless corporate fashion, is far worse than that. It is an anti-church. Like Jesus said of the Pharisees, we can say of most bishops in the Episcopal Church, they are their father the devil. The Episcopal Church is, frankly, little more now than a pit stop on the road to hell. Now, I'm not saying this as an outsider, pointing my finger and snickering at those silly little junior varsity Catholic apostates. As I mentioned, I am an Anglican, and I have great respect for its traditions in both its high and low church elements. I love its historic desire to preserve both continuity with the worship patterns of the ancient church, as well as the submission of all things to scriptural authority. It is a tradition that is produced in the Book of Common Prayer, one of the most stately liturgies in Christendom, has given in the King James Bible one of the classic translations of the Holy Scriptures into the vernacular, and has, through its mission activities, brought the gospel to much of the world. And indeed, it was through these elements that the churches of the Anglican Communion were born. Not only has the Anglican tradition brought much to Christendom in the way of faith, but also in its great scholarship, notably in areas of church history and New Testament scholarship. I mean, I sometimes kid some of my Catholic friends that Vatican II would have never happened if it weren't for Anglicans, because you can't even imagine the reforms of Vatican II occurring without the scholarship of men like Dom Gregory Dix on the shape of the liturgy and things like that. I mean, those were essentially all Anglicans, as well as modern evangelists like C.S. Lewis. There's simply a lot of richness in the Anglican tradition, not to put down anybody else's tradition, of course, but I'm merely stating that there simply is a lot of richness in that tradition. Now, worldwide, Anglicanism is actually vital and growing. In the global south, as it's called, its expansion is among the greatest of all churches. The Anglicans in Africa and Asia are largely Orthodox, and they see their outreach blessed by God. In the West, Anglican fervor for the Lord ranges from, frankly, the lukewarm to the non-existent for the most part. The positions of power, and here we're speaking bishops, diocesan officers, and seminaries, essentially are largely occupied by apostates and heretics of various stripes. Even in places where Orthodox teaching still prevails, the attitude seems to be to stay under the radar until your pension is assured and do the best you can. When they see the affronts to the Lord in their very midst, they may react indignantly, issue statements of regret, and call for a dialogue, but they won't admit the obvious. The Episcopal Church is spiritually dead. An oft-cited anecdote is St. John Chrysostom, the great Eastern Church Father and Bishop of Constantinople, stating that the road to hell is paved with the skulls of bishops. This was no attack on the episcopal office itself, but on the men who often occupied it. A victim of the intrigue of less saintly men, Chrysostom knew all too well that any position of leadership would attract those seeking to improve their own lot in this world without much concern for the world to come. In the Episcopal Church today, we see the same intrigue, with heretical bishops attacking the few remaining Orthodox among them who dare to speak out clearly and forcefully. In the last few years, the problems in the Episcopal Church have simply been impossible to hide. The Internet has allowed easy access to information, and the growing apostasy can no longer be swept under the rug as in the past. Parishes and entire dioceses have left wholesale, some with their property, others starting anew, and there's, of course, lawsuits going on for all of it. A new Anglican Church is now planned for those Orthodox Anglican exiles. As for the Episcopal Church, it still has dead men's money and little else going for it, as its lawsuits against those leaving illustrate its slow death rattle. Although the break with the Episcopal Church I would take as a good sign, I'm not actually that optimistic about long-term prospects for this Anglican Church. Those leaving, at least to me, seem to be reacting to a particular issue or issues, such as the ordination of Bishop Robinson, for example. But an overt apostate like John Shelby Spong was Bishop of Newark for a quarter century without anyone attempting to unseat him, at least among his fellow bishops. Furthermore, it's not been helped by the complete lack of leadership from Canterbury. The current Archbishop, Rowan Williams, has been, frankly, a total disaster who has no respect from either side. Those in the global south just ignore him and go about their business, and liberals in the west just simply buy him off with their available cash. There seems little chance Anglicanism will survive his reign in any form recognizable to what has occurred in the past. The other problem is that the elasticity of Anglicanism, sometimes called Anglican fudge, seems ill-suited to survive a time when the very tenets of the faith are under attack. Simply put, we need a form of Christianity both more muscular in its assertions and rooted in the historical witness of the Church. Anglicanism, with its tolerance of both Protestant and Catholic influences, seems ill-suited for the former. And while it has in the past been rooted in historic Christianity, it has adapted a rather cafeteria style of orthodoxy, where various provinces or even dioceses within provinces are more or less orthodox, but with little complete agreement on many key issues. My guess on the future of conservative Anglicanism is that it will survive and grow as a high church form of Protestantism, but its more Catholic elements will slowly be lost as Anglo-Catholics leave for either Rome or Orthodoxy. Even conservative Anglicans seem to have accepted much of the modernist program and just draw the line on things such as the ordination of homosexuals. Without a true identity rooted in historic Christianity, those longing for such will simply move on, probably myself included. Some are already in the process. Many have left for Rome or Orthodoxy, and one breakaway group, the Traditional Anglican Communion, has petitioned Rome for discussions on possible reconciliation with the Catholic Church. Rome has its Anglican use option, and Orthodoxy has its Western rite in the Antiochian Church. Both of these are possible options for escaping parishes. As for the revisionists in the Episcopal Church and the Church of England, they will, barring a major change, be relegated to the role of caretakers of historically interesting architecture and little else. They, frankly, are spiritual geldings, bearing no offspring, and they will go about their exercises in futility until the very last penny of every dead Anglican has been spent. Thank you very much for your time.